Let's move on to DeepSeek. I mean, for those of you that don't know, DeepSeek is known basically as an AI app similar to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But it's open source, meaning anyone can alter the code.
Yeah.
And the app is free to use, whereas ChatGPT Mini is free, but then you're limited to how many times you can use it a day. And if you want the full version, you have to pay monthly for it.
Yeah.
Right. But this basically, once they introduced it, it kind of took the tech industry by storm.
Yeah, the tech stocks started to tumble. NVIDIA was down 17%. That's their largest fall since 2000. It shed almost 600 billion of its market value. That's the largest fall in U.S. history. The S&P was down 1.5%, and the Nasdaq has more tech and obviously fell 3%.
Yeah.
So they were all just...
Everyone talks about NVIDIA. I hear it everywhere.
Yeah.
Buy NVIDIA.
Yeah. And then it just fell.
Well, the whole thing with them is they make, up until this point, NVIDIA makes these NH100 chips that are supposedly integral to AI.
All AI.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, like we were saying before, Taiwan that I mentioned, all those chips are made by TSMC. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing.
Yeah, TSMC.
Yeah, TSMC, right? So those chips, the U.S. has banned TSMC from selling those chips to China, right? The high-end ones, right? Instead, I think they sell China the 800 model. I think it's like the H800 or something like that.
Yeah.
Simply because, so when this is basically made, it kind of catches everyone off guard, right? And the whole industry is like, how are these guys making a AI that can compete with ChatGPT?
Yeah.
And they're not using NVIDIA's chips.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the whole thing. They're not using their chips at all.
Apparently. So even Sam Altman chimed in.
Yeah.
And according to a Wall Street Journal article, in an Ask Me Anything session on Reddit Friday, a participant asked Altman if the ChatGPT maker would consider releasing some of the technology with its AI models and publish more research showing how its systems work. Altman and OpenAI employees were discussing the possibility. I personally think we have been on the wrong side of history here and need to figure out a different open source strategy, Altman responded.
Damn.
So even him, right? Like
sounds like he's scared.
Reduced capability chip.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they are using.
They're low performing chips. They're NH800s. They're not allowed to use the 100 chips.
Right.
Right. Which is what people keep saying that you need for AI. Right.
To my understanding, like even Altman, all of them said for any AI, any LLM model, you need these super advanced chips, right? And these guys are using cheaper chips.
Yeah.
And they're just. It's cheaper to make in general, right?
Yeah. So, they're using H100 chips. OpenAI is, right?
Yeah.
And H800 is the chips.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah. I think I said NH, but it's NVIDIA.
Yeah.
But basically, this is an AI race now.
Yeah.
Right. And it seemed like people were just claiming that China, and they were speculating what China has, their AI is good or bad or whatever, and then China drops DeepSeek out of nowhere. Right. And it's the most downloaded app, I think, recently.
Yeah, it's number one in the App Store.
Yeah.
You see the developer?
Yeah.
It's just written in Chinese.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. People are saying TikTok all this, that Red Note.
Yeah.
They ban all of it. Then they release this app. Are you going to trust this one?
Look at that, right? Like, so this is an AI app. And it's the most downloaded app on the App Store, right? And they haven't talked about banning this.
And you're just feeding them information.
Mad information, asking you questions, and it's telling you answers.
Yeah.
It's an AI.
Yeah.
But it's saying anybody can change the coding, right?
That's how open source works.
Yeah.
Right? You know
that
you have access code anything.
No.
But like somebody who can I don't know.
Yeah, so even ChatGPT, like what Altman was saying, when they first introduced ChatGPT, I remember them being very secretive over how it's used and what all the coding is and stuff like that. And they're trying to keep it very hush hush. So it's surprising even him coming out and being like, maybe we should make it open source,
Yeah.
right? So anyone can recode it, right? But to be fair, doing things like that in the tech industry is usually what a small player would do to take a shot at big giants, because you're like, hey, listen, here's something everyone can do, right?
Yeah.
And then you kind of make them lose their market share. It's a tactic people use. That's probably what's going on here. But like, I mean, it's still impressive, right? They're saying that this thing, I heard rumors that it was built on 6 million.
Yeah, they're saying
6 million or billion?
million.
Million,
$6
right?
million, and it only cost, or it was developed in 2 months. It cost $6 million. And with ChatGPT, there's some conflicting reports, but it says that it could cost up to $4 million per iteration, or like $700K a day. So just look at that
Yeah.
to run. Look at the huge difference, right?
Yeah.
In cost.
Yeah.
And it's pretty telling that people are just pulling their stock out, people that know things. And Sam Altman seems like he's a little worried about it, at least.
Wouldn't you be? Like, if somebody can make something that's essentially just as competitive,
Cheaper.
right? It's cheaper to make, right? And they're saying that the code is free and the product itself is free.
Kind of an
The writing is
FU,
kind of on the
right?
wall, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like, okay, we're here, we mean business, right? I feel like there's also these other rumblings going on that they're using 50,000 or more of these
Right, I read
100
that.
chips.
Yeah.
There's no way they can produce this thing.
Then it's
So,
like more propaganda.
yeah, people are calling their bluff and being like, this is
Yeah, like, too
BS.
good to
Like,
be
they're,
true.
yeah,
Right when you were
Chinese-
saying that, I was like,
Maybe.
right?
yeah.
They're saying that the Chinese government they would get behind this because the AI arms race or whatever, right? So you don't really know what to believe
Right.
at the end of the day. But regardless, there's all this stuff happening with, I think, Elon had his Grok or whatever
Yeah,
it's called, Grok, right? And then you had Google's, and then now, but nobody was really comparing them too much to ChatGPT, right? And at first, ChatGPT was just something that people talked about, but now I feel like everyone
People
uses
use it.
it.
It's
right?
starting to get integrated into like society as a whole. I think a lot of kids use it the way that we used to use Google and stuff.
I
mean,
started using it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's-
use Chat. Yeah, everyone uses it now,
Yeah.
right? And I end up using it.
I didn't realize how
daily.
cool it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
you can do
pretty
everything
cool.
on there.
I
yeah.
was like, make me a weekly meal plan. It's like,
Yeah.
Okay, do
Even
you want
recipe.
protein? Do you
Yeah.
want, like, I was like, okay. So much easier.
Right. It's like a step easier than Google. Kind of like you can just instead of researching and then reading an article,
It does that
and
part.
then like making
Yeah.
notes, it does that part for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't follow it at all, but,
Yeah.
but it's there if I ever want to go back.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely impressive, but I don't know. Something about this does feel a little bit weird, and the way that they dropped it.
Yeah.
Because then you see countries aren't dumb, man. If China sees Trump's now pushing this tariff thing and he's going to do so, why do you think Trump backed off a little bit too, right? These guys dropped
Yeah.
DeepSeek and Trump gets spooked.
Yeah.
Like, you remember when Xi talked about how no one can stop their reunification with
Yeah.
Taiwan?
Yeah.
I didn't hear a peep from Trump.
Nothing at all.
Nothing.
He talks about everything.
Yeah.
Trump gets spooked.
He doesn't get spooked, but somebody knows, like, they get a lot of cheap parts and
You
things.
can't
from
mess around with
There's
China.
a lot of trade going on.
Yeah.
It's not about wars, right? It's about money, right? And you know if somebody can affect your dollar, right? The problem, he also knows, though, China's economy is decimated right now.
Yeah.
Their real estate economy
Right.
collapsed,
Yeah.
right? Evergrande, we saw everything that happened with them.
Yeah.
These ghost cities in China, right? There's protests that happen there all the time, right? People are losing money. It's China's economic atmosphere isn't the greatest, right? But at that same time, these guys are coming up with AI technology and EVs that combat Tesla.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, he did say, he's like, this is a wake up call for our companies. We need to compete to win.
Yeah. Learn from him, Canada. There's a wake up call for
Yeah,
Canada. We
wake
need
up.
to compete too, right? We
We
can't
need our
just
own
sit around do-
value.
But he doesn't want us to compete.
No. He just wants us to sit there and just do whatever he says, right? That makes sense. Okay, so let's move on to the Canadian.